For the free written version of this pattern, be sure to check out my blog, linked in the description box down below. Hello, my name is Kelsey, and today I'm going to be showing you how to Tunisian crochet this airplant holder. We're going to be using Bernat macrame, which is just any 5mm macrame cord, and a 12mm Tunisian crochet hook. And obviously you don't need a very long tail. And then I have a dowel rod, which is literally just a stick from my backyard, a little tape measure, a ring that is the appropriate size for the airplant that I'm going to have in here. We're going to start out by chaining 13. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to draw up a loop in each of the back bumps. So right here, this is the back bump. So usually a lot of patterns will just have you work in your regular chain. But when you flip it over, right here, there's the back bump. So we're going to be inserting our hook into each one of these across. And the basics of Tunisian crochet are that there's a forward pass and a return pass. The forward pass is you're putting loops onto your hook, and the return pass is taking those loops off of your hook. So every single row in Tunisian crochet is made up of that basic formula of forward pass and return pass. And the return pass is going to be exactly the same for every row, except for the rows where we're going to be adding our ring and our dowel rod at the very end, or stick, whatever you're using works. So for those rows, it'll be noted what to do in the pattern, but let's get started on our forward pass. Insert, drop a loop. All right. And so now we're going to count how many loops we have on our hook just to make sure we got them all. And now we are going to do our return pass. So yarn over, draw through one loop, and this kind of creates a chain which represents the height of your row. So that's how every single return pass on this pattern will begin, just with yarn over and chaining, drawing through one loop. Then you yarn over and you draw through 2 loops, and you'll repeat that across. All right, now we have 2 loops left on our hook, so we will yarn over and draw through those last 2. And then this is your first loop on your hook for the next row. All right, so that is our foundation row. And now we're going to be getting into what the rest of the rows look like for the rest of the pattern. All right, we're gonna start this row we are going to make 1. And if you notice here, I'll explain why we're gonna do that real quick with the finished product here. Okay, so we have this really cool little V pattern, and in order to maintain that without it losing stitches and basically turning into a triangle, we are going to make 1 at the very beginning and at the very end of each row. And this will allow for our, right here where we are Tunisian simple stitching 3 together in the very middle to create this V pattern. And that way it just helps maintain that you have 13 loops on your hook with each row. In Tunisian crochet, there's a lot of different ways that you can make 1 or increase. Increase is also a common term for it. And for this pattern, we're going to be inserting our hook under the top 2 vertical bars, just like you would for a normal crochet pattern. So see these 2? Of this immediate stitch right here, we're going to be inserting our hook under these 2, drawing up a loop, and that will be from the get-go adding an extra loop onto our hook. So we made 1 or increased right there. And now we are going to Tunisian knit stitch the next 4 stitches, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So to Tunisian knit stitch, all you do is you have your 2 vertical bars and you just insert your hook in between those 2, draw up a loop, and we're going to do that for 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and so now we're at the middle where we are going to be decreasing to create that V shape. So we are going to be Tunisian simple stitching 3 together. And so this is a simple stitch, which means we're going to be working under these 3 vertical bars. So I'm going to be inserting my hook under all 3 of these at once, drawing up a loop, just as I would in a normal stitch, Tunisian simple stitch. All right, take this out. All right, I have my hook under all 3 loops. I'm gonna draw up. And that is how you Tunisian simple stitch 3 together. Super easy. All right, and so now I'm just gonna repeat what I did here by Tunisian knit stitching 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm gonna make 1, and then I'm gonna show you how to work the last stitch of each row. All right, so I had Tunisian knit stitch 4. Now I'm going to make 1. These top 2 vertical bars right here, insert my hook under there, draw up a loop, all right, and I made 1, and now we are going to work the last stitch. And the way we're going to work this, it's basically like the counterpart of your first loop on your hook on this end, but the way we do it, it's going to create like a really clean edge. So what you do is you turn your work to the side like this, and you insert your hook under these 2 loops. I think there's 2 there, and you draw up a loop. So that is the forward pass for row 2. And you can see the little V pattern is already starting to take shape a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna work on our return pass, which is exactly the same as how it was for the previous row. And that is row 2. And our V pattern is taking a lot more shape right there. All right, next we're going to be repeating row 2, the row that we just did, up until row 5. And then we're gonna stop right before we do the return pass for row 5, and that is when we will be adding our ring during that return pass. So let's repeat row 2 for rows 3, 4, and 5. So 3 more rows, right? All right, so now we are on row 5, and we are going to stop before the return pass. All right, we are going to be attaching the ring when we yarn over for this center Tunisian simple stitch 3 together. So this bar that is connected to those, that is where we are going to be attaching our ring. All right, so we're gonna start the return pass just like before. And now we are right here at the center stitch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the ring right here, yarn over, and draw through 2 loops, just as before. So here's my ring, here's my hook going through it, and there's my stitches as usual on the hook. And I yarn over, so see the ring in between. And then I'm gonna draw through these 2 stitches just as normal. So I'm gonna pull through the ring, yarn over. It's kind of tricky. There we go. And so you can see how that wrapped around the ring, and here's my yarn that I'm working with. And I'm going to continue the row on, which is just gonna further secure it. So now yarn over, draw through 2, and there we go. Have like a little 2 loop security on there. All right, and so we'll just continue the row as normal, yarn over, draw through 2, the return pass, I mean. It's gonna be annoying. Draw through 2. And then that is our return pass, and we have our ring attached. Now we're gonna move on, and for rows 6 through 9, we are going to repeat row 2. And we're going to stop before the return pass of row 9. And then we're going to Tunisian simple stitch 3 together, just like we have been doing the whole time. And we're going to be working, so here's our loops. We have this one, and we're gonna be working under both of these right here. And then hidden under here is our 3rd stitch. So see these 3? We're going to be Tunisian simple stitching 3 together, just like before. Right there. All right, might be a little tricky. So 1, 2, 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3, and there we go. So we just Tunisian simple stitch 3 together like normal. So now we are going to move on to row 9, and we're going to work our forward pass as usual. And then once we get to our return pass, that is when we will be attaching to our stick. That is row 9, it's forward pass. So now we are going to be attaching to our stick or dowel rod or whatever you have decided to use. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the stick, just like with the ring, we're gonna put it on top of our yarn that we're about to use, and then we're just gonna work our return pass as usual, but we're gonna be wrapping our yarn around the stick as we go. So we're gonna be yarn over, draw through 1 loop, just like before. Yarn over. Now we're gonna put our hook underneath there, and we're gonna yarn over and draw through 2 loops, just like we did before. And so basically it's just like wrapping it around. And so now our hook is on top, and we are going to yarn over, draw through 2 loops. Okay, and now because our yarn's on top, we're going to move the hook to the bottom, yarn over, draw through 2, right, yarn over, draw through 2, hook under, yarn over, draw through 2, over, 2. And then the final one here. So as you can see, we have it attached. Probably need to cut my stick a little bit, but what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna cut my yarn using my super high-tech toddler scissors. And I'm gonna leave about approximately like a 20-inch tail or whatever you wanna do. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. So what I'm gonna do is leave a long enough tail to tie it right there, and then it'll be able to hang. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm just gonna cut it right here. Forgot I need to tie it off right here, so it doesn't come undone. And then just tie it over here. And then I'm just gonna tuck it in behind there. All right, so there's your hanging function. Got the main part of everything done. You can see your air plant sit nice in there. All right, and we're gonna cut 13 pieces, approximately 9 to 10 inches long, or as long as you want. This is your project. If you want a super long fringe, that would look amazing. All right, I got all 13 cut, and as you'd imagine, I don't recommend using toddler scissors, but at this point, I am finishing this video on borrowed time because nap time is over. All right, so what you're just gonna do is so easy. You just fold it in half, insert one into each one of these initial chain stitches, 13 of them, insert, pull through, literally that simple. It's not rocket science. And all right, and there is our fringe. And this next part, I have another mom life. Then this is completely optional. You can use your fingers, but I have a comb an infant comb that came in like a first aid kit that I literally did not use ever on my kids because neither of them had hair until they were 2. All right, there we go. And so now I'm gonna do some trimming with my handy dandy toddler scissors. And there we go. Ready for an air plant. Thank you so much for sticking around and making this air plant hanger with me. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I would really appreciate it if you would support my channel by liking this video and subscribing. Thank you, and I hope you have a great day.